We're back, another Wolf&Pooch, episode 53. Um, Today we're going to talk about living together, some of the pros and cons of that, and maybe, it might help you decide if it's time to move in with your significant other or not. There's definitely benefits to it. There's definitely some downsides too, could have downsides. So we're going to get right into it. So some of the things that come to mind when I think of pros are obviously sharing living expenses makes things a little bit easier, right? You're not doing all the bills by yourself. You're not paying rent by yourself. That is a big plus and bonus. Two, some people don't want to get married, and so they find like this is a happy medium. Like, let's live together, so we don't have to have that. This is like a commitment enough, right? So they choose that option instead.
I will say for the sharing expenses, people can say, "Oh, you could just get a roommate." Like low
True,
key,
true,
you
but we're
might.
talking
But
about
I feel
like,
you. I understand. I'm just saying.
couples living together, right? And some of the benefits of that. Some other things too, like it will definitely, I feel like, get you closer as a couple, and strengthen the bond, you're with this person day in and day out. You're sharing living expenses. You are pretty much in each other's space all the time, right? So you have no choice but to work through things if a disagreement comes up. You're just, it's there. It's not like, you hang up the phone angry and like put it away for a while. No, it's right there in your face, whether take some time to process or whatever. At the end of the day, you guys are living together. So it forces you to handle some of those disagreements. So those are some of the positives that come to mind. Can you think of any pros before we get into the cons?
Um, about living together.
Yeah.
I think you said it. I mean, I guess like we said, financially has benefits. I'm trying to think.
Right.
I mean, like for guys, I know dudes don't really. Well, it depends on some dudes, but they don't really like to cook like that or have time to cook. So hey, if you got a girl in the house with you, chances are, you probably got somebody to help you out
Built-in
with
chef.
that. Another thing is like along the lines of that, if you living with your girl, then you kind of could focus more on your purpose when you grinding, right? Because you
Yeah.
could like let the woman take care of certain things that help you save time and energy
So you
to
could
help you
focus.
focus on just like
I could see that.
what you know needs to be done. So
Yeah.
that's a benefit too. Having somebody like take care of the home front
Right.
while you out working, chasing the bag. She could be take care of the house or whatever.
And just all the stuff
If you
that
got
he doesn't want to
kids,
have. Right.
you ain't gotta have a babysitter. You unless unless your girl work too. But
And I'm gonna
I'm
interject.
just saying, it's a lot of stay at home moms.
I gotta interject
It's a lot of stay
because
at
I
home
really
moms.
don't like when people are like, "Oh, is your man babysitting your kids?" No, they're his children. Of course, he's not babysitting them because they're his kids. Sorry, I had to put that in there because I hear that a lot. It's like, of course he's watching his own children. He's the father. So, but that's another.
I was talking
topic.
about for the dude being out and the mom being
True.
being at home.
True.
But
no, I hear what you're saying. Like, they look after things you don't have to worry about, so you could stay focused on what you're doing. That's a huge bonus. So that is a good pro. Anything else before we jump into the cons? I forgot to mention one, and I was, when you were talking and you were mentioning something, I can't remember what it is. Yes, it's a good test run to see if you guys could live together, right? Like, because when you are cohabitating, like I said earlier, you're really in each other's space. And some people don't cohabitate well. Like, you go on vacation with someone and you're like, I don't know if I'd go on another trip with them, right? So it really is like a test run a little bit, like, especially if you're thinking about marriage, right? Oh, let's live together first to see how that goes. And
but I kind of that falls. Okay, let's lead over to the cons because I think that falls more.
It could. Well, it could be a benefit or a con, right?
Here's the thing: if you do move in before marriage, that might scare it off. That might just be like, you know what, can't do it.
Well,
because
then
you really see, you be like, ooh,
Well, you're put in the
So
position
I guess that's could be a pro and a con, because then you, like you said, you do know, but then it could just mess it up, because you may have had plans to, like you said, get married with this person, but then it just living with that person just turns you off.
You are put in the position of, is this something I could deal with or not? And so I think of it as more of a bonus as not. I mean, now way back in the day, people didn't move in with each other. Their marriages worked because it was just what they did, right? They just made it work. I don't know. Maybe some of those people were miserable. I'm not sure, but you know, I'm just saying, as far as from modern day standpoint, a lot of couples do move in before marriage, just to kind of get used to each other. Because let's be honest, it's an adjustment, especially if you're used to your own space and you are not used to having someone with you. Some people live alone and then all of a sudden they move in with each other and you're like, okay, there's a big getting to know you, used to you thing with that, right? So
I'll say this, speaking from personal experience, from a man point of view, I feel like you should, if you're gonna live with a woman, wait till you guys are married, because yeah, because I'm telling you, you know, one thing we like as men is a peace of mind and having peace. And so
don't get married. Sorry. Couldn't resist. Sorry. That was such a layup.
But when you're living with a woman, let's say y'all argue all the time and this and that, and then you don't have any. See, if you got your own spot and y'all start arguing, you just leave. All right, deuces. I'm going back to my crib. Boop, boop, boop,
well,
boop.
You have to incorporate some kind of thing.
If you live together, then it's like, what? You can leave the house, but then you got to come back. And then after a while, if you keep having to leave the house, you might as well leave for good and not even move out, right? If it gets to that point.
Well, if you're married, now it's okay. So it's going by your, whole program that you think. If you wait until you get married and then you guys are here now in the pressure cooker together, right? I mean, let's
take little trips together.
There's blissfulness.
To see,
trips are different.
Like a week or so.
Vacations are different, because on vacation, what's happening? You're not in reality. You're not sharing bills. You're in la la land. Ooh, you're exploring. You're on whatever. So that's not the same. I will argue that to the death, because when you're on vacation, you're not like going to work every day, coming in and out, getting stuff out.
I mean, you still got to put up with each other, though.
You do. You are being in the same space, but without all the daily deals. Yeah. Here's the thing. In marriage, okay, so say you wait till you're married and then you guys move, obviously you're going to live together, you're married, right? You're still going to have disagreements and you still may need to leave the house. You just have to have a plan in place of like, you know what? I don't want to talk about this right now. And let's talk about it later when we're both feeling, not so tense or not as charged. It's just communication. That's what it is.
But that's different. If you married, then you committed to working through all that. See, I'm talking about just dating right now. I wouldn't necessarily move in with somebody while you're dating. Yeah. I mean, you could try it, but I just know it's difficult.
It does present challenges. It does,
because then you'll fall into the trap of already acting like a married couple or already acting like when you live together. Then you just then it puts the pressure on things, and you like, nah, this too much. I can't do it. Let me fall back, and it just becomes a mess.
Yeah, so it could get messy depending on where the two people are at, right?
Yeah.
So I think you just have to have some really good conversations before you take that step, and to see if that makes sense for you to do that at the time. Don't just, hey, let's go play house.
Yeah.
No, sit down, have some conversations about your expectations, his expectations, and see if they line up. Because if they don't, then you're like, okay, let's hold off on this right now. Let's still do how we're doing, and go as
Then we talk about the bills. How we said that could be a pro, right? Helping, but that also could be a con too, because a lot of people bump heads over money, and then
money's a big thing.
Bills when you live together, and this and that. Who pay for what? How are we gonna do this? How are we gonna do that? Especially,
it could become a stressor.
The ones that share accounts. Oh, don't do that. Don't share
that. That should not happen until you're married. And here is my advice: if you're married, have a joint account, have a separate one as well.
Man,
do keep your own independence. Do not solely rely on each other. Yes, a joint account for bills, house things. Absolutely.
Just feel like even with
you have to have your own something.
The joint accounts, they still be hiding money on the side. Like, oh yeah, he ain't getting all my money. She ain't gonna know all my money. So it's just like you might as well just have your
Well, like I just said,
separate
have a
account.
joint account for
Nah, I
house
don't even.
things.
Oh, you like bills?
Yeah, that, and then have your own account for your personal expenses. Right?
Okay.
You need that.
Depends. Teachers on. I don't know.
I've been married before. He hasn't.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've been
Take
through
her
this.
word for that one.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know that,
I mean,
guess.
well, no, you are going to have joint things, especially if you own a home together. Like, I feel like at some point, you know, you're gonna have a joint credit card. You're gonna have things like that. You still should have your own, but you still have some stuff joint. You can cancel it out at any time if you see it's not working. Say someone starts using that joint card on all kinds of stuff, and you're like, wait a minute. So yeah, you know, obviously, again, a conversation. Oh, this card's going to be used for things like this. It's all about communication. At the end of the day, it's all about have conversations about what your expectations are when it comes to these things, because you don't want to jump into something that is really, it is a major step when you move in with somebody. It's not to be treated lightly, right? It's a big deal. And, you know, I think a lot of people jump the gun a little bit on that, and it should be done in a more cautious way with some thought behind it.
And just because you have a baby with somebody, don't let that be a reason either. Like, let's say, you know, if you dating and y'all end up pregnant, don't just let the baby be a reason why, oh, let's live together now and see if we can start this family. Nah, don't do it. That's just like a baby can't keep somebody together. It can't keep two people together.
No,
it can't keep two people married. I know some people try, but they be miserable. But don't just do things because of a baby either. Don't just be like, oh yeah, let's try to live in together.
The child will suffer.
I'm about to say, especially in an unhealthy environment, it'd be better.
And I mean, if you're gonna do, maybe you need to be more cautious. If you know you're dating and you know, like, how about like use protection if you're not there yet? Like, let's be real. Like, don't take that lightly either. That's another show topic.
Yeah, people say that.
You know, definitely bringing a child into the world is a big deal, and a lot of thought needs to go behind that, and you know.
So what about this? Couples who live together and then, like, let's say the dude, you know, the man, he got his boys over all the time or kicking it, or, you know, because I know that sometimes that would be an issue too. Like if
it depends if they're disrespectful. I mean, if you got like. Or if there's like a man cave, or if there's a man cave or something, like, okay, go do your thing and chill out there, and you're out of my hair. Now, if you got to, you know, then in the house,
like when they be like, hey baby, can you bring us some chips and
okay,
some,
that ain't.
Give my boys some
would
sandwiches?
You want your friends doing that? Absolutely fucking not.
No. I'm not talking about the friends. I'm talking about how the dudes, they boyfriend, the husband or the boyfriend, be like, hey babe, can you give me and my boys something to drink?
Again, that's a personal. If you're okay with that setup, then it'll work for you. If you're not okay with it, then it won't.
Some girls be like, me, I'm the type. I wouldn't even. You know, I ain't the type to have dudes over like that anyway. You know, especially with my woman home. Like, I couldn't do that because I don't. You know, it's just.
Well. It depends.
Especially if she the only one, ain't no, you know, she ain't got no friends, none of her friends, just her and a bunch of dudes.
If it's couples, it's different.
I don't get down like that.
Right. Yeah.
So I wouldn't even be doing that.
It's a comfort level for sure. Yeah.
I'd rather go out if we gon', you know, if I'm kicking with the guy. All right, let's just go out for a little, then whatever. Right. But
you'll probably get to a point where you won't care as much, but you might care now. But yeah, it just depends. It depends. Every situation, it presents itself a different way, so you don't know. But yeah, I think we covered a lot. We covered a lot of bases, pros and cons.
Did.
So to wrap it up, think it through. Don't jump into it because it is a big decision, and you know you don't want to do anything that you'll end up. I hate to use the word regret because I like to live with no regrets, but that you may like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done this, and you know, we could have waited or whatever. So yeah, so
I say if
don't go into it blindly.
Plan on like committing and being with a person, like, and loving them, and like if you don't really love that person, if you ain't really trying to commit to them, don't do it, because then you ain't gonna work things out when it get tough. Yeah. Then y'all just gonna become roommates, sleeping in the same house, in different rooms, and become total strangers before you know it. So that would be horrible. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to get to that point. Alrighty, I think we're gonna close it right there. Like, comment, subscribe.
Follow the socials.
Give us feedback. If
Sure.
you made it this far, I want you to give us some experiences. Like, you know, for all my couples out there, my guys or women who live with somebody, what do y'all think? Should you live with someone, you know, before marriage? When is the right time? Just comment down below.
Yeah.
I like to hear what y'all got to say.
See what you guys have to think about it.
All right.
All right.
Till next time, y'all stay safe. Y'all stay blessed.
It's